Hello everyone, this is KenBroTech from KenBroTech and welcome back to the channel. So if you're a Python developer, you definitely have seen this website, and this is a python.org, the Python official website. Now you might have also come across the PyPi, which is a Python package index portion of that website, and this is where we have all the libraries we have been using. I mean the third-party libraries we have been using most of the time. So for instance, Django as a framework is listed over here, and we have seen this a couple of times. Now what I've done today, or what we are going to do today, is to build our own Python library, which we are going to publish over here for others to use. So we have this as KBTCal, and I think, yeah, it's KBTCal with one L. And when I click on this, I have this package over here. So we are going to see how we build and package a library and publish it over here for others to use. And of course, if you are watching this video, you can just switch up and check this up over here, and you're going to see this package. Now, as you can see, the author over here is KenBroTech. That's my name, and this is being maintained by KenBroTech, and the rest of the description is listed over here. We are going to see how we put everything together in order to make people use our package. Now I believe this particular project is going to be a very good start. That's going to prepare you for doing much bigger things. Okay, so later on with other videos, I'm going to build on very large complex libraries which we are going to publish over here. Now if you are highly excited as I am, I have other projects over here on my channel you can check around, and also don't forget to subscribe and hit on the notification button if you are here too. Thank you very much, and let's get started. So the first thing we are going to do is obviously to install the package and have a feel of it. So I'm saying that there's a simple library that performs basic Python arithmetic operations. So I'm going to click on this to install, and you have the installation over here. We need to run a pip install kbtcal. So inside of VS Code, I have this app over here. I mean app.py Python file over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the pip install. So I'm doing a Control V over here, like I copied. So I'm doing pip install kbtcal. So when I press enter, now after a few seconds, the library has been installed. So we can do a pip list, and this library is still public, so you can actually check it as you learn along. So when I do a pip list, this is going to list all the packages I have over here, and if I'm to go to, as I have over here, I now have kbtcal, and the version is 1.2. all right, so how then do we use a library kbtcal? And all is provided in the description we have over here. So the usage, and I'm saying that a guide to use the add numbers function is as follows. So first of all, we need to import the library, then we need to declare a variable, and within the library we can call the add numbers method or function in there, and we pass in two numbers as parameters. And I'm saying that where 3 and 7 are the numbers you want to add, then we can now print the number variable over here, and we are going to see exactly how that's going to work. All right, so in order to do this, I think after the installation process we need to restart our IDE so that our system is going to work properly. So I'm going to close this and open it up again. Okay, so over here we can now do the import kbtcal, and I'm going to define a variable over here. So I'm going to call this var1. So var1, then I can do kbtcal dot, I can have access to the add numbers method in here. Then I'm going to put out 4 and 6. So what I want is I want to print out the var1, which is going to be a summation of 4 and 6. So I'll save this, and when I run this, I have printed in the terminal sum is 10, because when you add 4 to 6 you are getting 10 over here. Now let's do another one over here, and let me call this val2. So val2 is going to be kbt, and I'm going to do a kbt dot subtract numbers, and I'm going to pass in, let's say 5 and 12, So when I save this and down over here, I'm going to print val2. So I'll save this, and when I run this program, as you can see, we have the first one being printed over here. That's the val1, which is 10, and the second one is, the difference is -7, because 5 minus 12 is -7. So let me quickly run through the rest of the libraries over here. So I'm going to do a val3 over here, and the val3 is going to be the products, or okay, let's start with powers. So let's do powers over here, and let's just do 5 raised to the power 2. And for val4, let's do product, or let's do, no, I think it is multiply. Yeah, multiply numbers, and let's multiply 5 and 12. So let me just print val3 and val4 over here. So I'll save this. So in this case, I'm only printing the powers and the product over here. So when I run this, you can see that the power is 5, because 5 raised to the power 2 is 5 times 5, which is 25. Sorry, 25 over here. And the product is going to be 60, because 5 times 12 is going to yield a result of 60. And this is basically the library we are going to build, but this is going to teach us a lot of things over here and how we maneuver our way through libraries. Okay, so having demonstrated this, now let's go straight into building this library and publishing it as well. Okay, so right over here, I've cleaned things up over here. So I have this folder, cal folder, which is empty, and we are going to do a number of things over here. So first of all, we are going to create a folder, and this folder is going to be what I'll call cal kbt or PyKBT cal. All right, so this is going to be that folder, and this is going to be the name of the package we are going to use. Okay, so the PyKBT cal. Remember, we already have kbt cal published over here, so we cannot use this name again. Inside of the folder, I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to create an underscore init underscore.py file over here. So this is going to be where our package is going to be hold, or we are going to write all our libraries, all our functions over here. So I'll save this for now and just leave it as it is. Now what I need to do is to come outside, okay, of this root directory and creating some files over here. So the first one I'm going to create is, I'm going to have setup.py. So we are going to see what we have in setup.py, and let me close it over here. And we are going to have a number of files that we are going to add to setup.file. So the next one I'm going to bring over here is going to be a license. So I'm going to say license, and this should be in capital letters, I must admit. So license dot, and this is going to be a .txt file. All right. Don't worry if you are not seeing these icons showing up over here. I have an extension I'm using in VS Code. That's why I have these extensions or these icons showing up over here. Then I'm also going to create in a manifest.in file over here. So manifest, I think I have the spelling wrong over here. So manifest.in file. Good. The next one that I'm going to have over here is a readme.md. So this is going to be a readme file we are going to use over here. Then I think the last one that we need to have is going to be a change. I think this is optional, but then let's try and have it over here. So a change log.txt file over here. All right, so let me close things up over here. We are going to come back to these files and what we are going to put in over here. I already have a snippet. I'm just going to put over here and explain to you what each and every one actually does. So let's go to the our main Python program, and this is where we are going to run or write all our methods or functions over here. So let's define this add numbers function, and add numbers is going to take in a num1 and a num2, and I'm going to do, so I'm going to say results is equal to num1 plus num2, and I'm going to return let's say a formatted string over here, because that's what I want. So for this, I'm going to say the sum is, and let me make sum capital, and I can pass in the variable results over here. All right, so if I'm to do this and print out and call in the add numbers function I just created, and let's say I add in 3 and 5, I'm expecting to see 8 when I run this. So when I run this, I have the sum is 8. All right, so I'm rest assured this function is working properly. So let me clear things up over here, and all that I need is to duplicate this. So I'll do a Control-C, and I'm quickly going to just run this so that I'll explain later. Okay, so just about here, I'm done writing all the functions that I need, and these are very simple Python functions. So I did demonstrate with the add numbers, and I have subtract numbers, and the main changes happening over here is the arithmetic operation happening over here. Now I have multiply numbers, and I'm multiplying the two numbers the user will be typing in there. I have divide numbers float. So divide numbers float is, for instance, if you have, so let's say if you have 7 divided by 3, you are most likely to get 2 point something. Okay, so if it is a divide float, it's going to give us a floating point value. But if it is a divide floor, and as you can see, this is an arithmetic operation, we use a double slash over here, and that's going to give us an absolute value. So it's going to give us 2 instead of 2 points whatever. Then I also have the mode. This is going to give us the remainder after division. Then we have the power over here. That's going to raise the first number raised to the power the second number. So these are functions, and we are confident everything is working over here. All right, so the next thing we are going to do is we are going to go into each and every file we have over here and see what goes in there. Now the first thing I'm going to look at is the license. So the license.txt, and for starters we have to use the MIT license. So the MIT license is an open source free license that we can use. So clearly we'll come in here and do a Google search of MIT license. I'm going to leave this link in the description below, and we have over here a template that we can use. So this is where the license begin and this is where it ends. So we just have to copy this. So I'll do a Control-C over here, come back in here and do a Control-V and change some few things over here. So first of all, we need to bring out the year. So the year is 2021 at the time of recording this video, and we are going to have the name of whoever is writing this, and I'm going to say this by KenBroTech. So it can be your name, it can be the name of your company or anything of that sort. And what does the license actually say? It says permission is thereby granted for free of charge, okay, to any person obtaining a copy of this software and associated documentation files. The software to deal with the software without restrictions, including without limitations to write, to use, copy, modify, merge, publish, distribute, sub-license and or sell copies of the software, and to permit persons to whom the software is. So definitely you have to read everything over here. If you are comfortable with this, you use this. And of course, I'm putting up on PyPi.org, so definitely I'm comfortable with the MIT license. And like I said, it's an open source free license for everybody to use. All right, so this is where I have my license. Now the next thing I'm going to look at is going to be the change log. And over here I have a snippet over here. So as you can see, I have change log over here. So I'm just going to open this up and I'll just copy this. So I'll do a Control-C and I'll come in here, and inside of my change log we are going to see where this actually goes. I'm going to have this pasted over here, and today's date is, at the time of recording, is 26th, and this is going to be a version 1.0. So I'll save this. So I'm done with changelog. I'm done with my license. So I'm done with this first two. Now let's go to the manifest.in. Now manifest.in, if I'm to go back over here and go into our manifest, I'm going to do a Control A and Control C to copy everything over here. Then I'll come back here and come and paste this over here. So manifest is actually, it depends on the kind of library that you are building. Okay, so in other videos I'm going to show you different use cases of what you actually have to put in your manifest file, but it definitely includes some things over here. So it definitely includes over here we are saying that a global include, so anything that has to do with the extension of a .txt, a .py, we are trying to say that yes, we are comfortable with this and we want to integrate it in our library. All right, now let's go into the readme.md. Now readme is very important over here and I'm going to show you why. So let's first of all, let's do a Control A and Control C to copy our readme file and come back here and come and paste it in here. Now the readme is actually what you see being displayed over here, and it is very important. So for instance, issues that pertains with the project description, the installation, the usage, you put it in the readme file, and that's important because users would want to see what the library does before installing it. Okay, so it is very important you put in a very good description of readme inside of your project. So as you can see over here, I have this is a simple library that performs basic Python arithmetic operations, and that's what we have over here for the first project description. All right, then we will come down to installation and we are seeing a pip install kbt cal. So over here the installation is going to be a pip install, and this particular package is going to be PyKBT file. Remember, that's the name we are giving it over here. All right, now remember we have this written with some kind of hash, double hash over here, and this is actually going to change the font size. Okay, so this is going to make it a bigger font width. Okay, and that's exactly what you see over here. So you can see that the width of the font is, this one is different from this one in as much as they are both text, but you can see that this is small and this is big because of the font width we are changing over here. This is not commenting. Okay, we are not doing Python over here. This is a .md file, and also what we have over here is a backward tick, and this backward tick is actually making this pip install PyKBT into this kind of code thing we have over here. Okay, and as you can see, this plays in some kind of a text box and it's kind of looking very neat over here. Then we have the usage, so we provide some kind of description. So a guide to using the add numbers function is as follows, and I also have this backtick showing that this is going to be like a code. All right, then I have the functions in the library are, and I've listed the functions over here. Now a video usage guide, and I'm seeing that a video usage guide is provided via the link. So I have this link into brackets YouTube, and the link is showing up over here, and the license is 2021 copyrighted to KBT, and this repository is license under the MIT license, see license detail, and the license detail is over here, which the user can actually come and view. So I'm going to save this, and as we move along, we are going to see the things happening in each of the files over here. So you can modify this. I'm going to leave this in the description below. It's going to be my GitHub repo, so you definitely have access to everything over here. Then finally we come into setup.py. Setup.py is very important, and I'm going to show you why. So let's come in here and go into setup.py and grab everything over here. So I'll do a Control A, Control C, then I'll come in here and do a Control V, then I will save. So within setup.py, we want to import setup tools. Okay, and before we import setup tools, we need to do a pip install setup tool. So I'm going to do pip install. I already have it installed, but if it is your first time, you need to do a pip install setup tools. So now it is telling me requirement already satisfied because I have setup tools installed on my computer. So setup tools is going to help us with a number of things over here. So now let's go back to our package and see some things over here. Now the first thing we are seeing is we have classifiers, okay, and classifiers is going to be a list, and these are the classifiers over here. So for instance, as you can see, every package will have some kind of classifier, okay. So let me just go back and see other packages, and let's see Django for instance. So let's go to Django, and if you are to look at the Django classifiers as we have it over here, it gives us some kind of description, and this actually is also going to help the user. Let's say a random person is trying to look out for something that has to do with Python 3. So as you can see, the programming languages over here is specified in here. So for instance, we have the development status, and this is in a production or stable status. We also have the web environment, the framework is Django, the audience is for developers. So this is what Django is all about. Now let's come back over here and let's go to browse a project. Now you can see that a user can filter by classifiers, and these are the classifiers available. So you can have framework, topic, development status, license, programming language, operating system, environment, and intended audience, natural language, and typing. And when I click on framework, for instance, these are a list of frameworks. So if you are building your library for a particular framework, you need to specify it over here so that a user can actually filter by these classifiers over here. So over here we have quite a number of classifiers. So for instance, we have the development status. We are using production or stable because we believe this package is very small. We don't have any complicated stuff over here, so it is stable. However, there are options available over here. So for development status, it can either be planning, pre-alpha, alpha, beta, and I have production, stable, matured, and inactive. So these are the options for the development status you can use. And in order to do so, we just have to type in development status, a double colon, and we have 5- production/stable. Then we have intended audience. So in this particular project, we have 2 intended audiences over here. So we have one for developers, and the second one is for science and research. And these are the list of intended audience we can also select from. So we have developers over here, and the other one I chose was science and research. Now let's add education over here as well. So let me do a shift alt down arrow key to duplicate this, and I'm just going to type education. So I'm adding education to my intended audience. Then the operating system, I'm saying that yes, this library is compatible with Microsoft Windows and Windows 10 in general, and the license is the MIT license, and the programming languages over here, I'm seeing that it is compatible with Python version 3.6, 3.7, and then obviously 3.8, and I think 3.9 as well, because I'm using 3.9 over here. So I'll run this and I'll add these things up over here. So let's come in here. I think programming languages, and we have a number of them over here. So if it is compatible with let's say Fortran, you just include Fortran, JavaScript, and Java, you just include them over here. But you see, these are the Python libraries or the Python versions over here. So I'm saying my products, my library is compatible with version, and it is very important. So sometimes you need to know exactly what you are doing. Now I wrote this library in Python version 3.9 because that's what my system runs, and that's why I'm confident that it is compatible with these Python versions. Now remember, I use formatted strings over here. Formatted string is not compatible with, I think, older versions of Python. So I'm inclined to believe, or I'm confident that it's not going to formatted string is not going to be compatible with Python version 2. So clearly I'm confident, and that's why I've stated it over here. Okay, so that any person going to use this application who is running on Python version 2 is not going to bother him or herself using this. So I'm saying that Python version 3.6 or anything above, it is going to be compatible over here. Now we have the setup, and this is going to be the main catch over here. So first of all, we have the setup and we have the name. So this is going to be the name of the package. Okay, so the name of the package, I'm saying this is going to be the PyKBT. Now before we even pick up a name, you need to go and check if the name is available for you to pick. So in order to do so, we just have to come back to PyPi.org and let me do a PyKBT. Now I've already checked this, so I'm confident this hasn't been taken. It says that what there was no results for PyKBT, so definitely we can use this. All right, so let's come back in over here. So that's going to be the name, and the version I'm using 1.0. Remember when I came back, or if I'm to go back into the log.txt, I'm seeing that I'm using version 1.0. all right, then I have a description over here. Now this description is very important because any user who comes to using your library will definitely have to read something about it. So a good description will encourage the user to probably use your library. So I'm saying that there's a simple library that performs the basic arithmetic operations, and I have the long underscore description. So the long underscore description is going to link things up over here. So it's going to open the readme.md over here. This is going to be part of that long description, and I'm going to call the read method in here. Then I'm going to concatenate, but then I'm going to put out 2 lines, okay, and concatenate it with the changelog.txt, and I'm going to access the read method on this, and that's exactly what we find over here. So if I'm to go back to my KBT, this is part of the readme, okay, and I've concatenated the changelog in here. All right, and that's exactly what you have over here. So the readme is including the description, the installation process, and everything over here. Then I'm adding it up with the changelog, and that's what this long description is doing for me. Now I have the long description content type, and I'm using a text stroke markdown, and this text stroke markdown is very important because that's what is making the markdown or the markup appear over here. So if I don't bring that one up, you are going to see that this is going to be a little bit disorganized, and since we want it in this particular format, we definitely have to put in this. Now the URL, I'm going to leave this blank over here, but then this can be your GitHub repo or anything of that sort. So let me just do, okay, so let me do a KBT. Good. So I'll save this, and the author is my name, Kenneth Brony, and this is going to be my email address, and the license we all know is MIT. We need to add in the classifiers. So the classifiers is actually the classifiers we've stated over here, so that's going to be included in here. Then the keywords, so we can put up a list over here, so it can be a list of things a user is most likely to search our package with, and we are not using the packages over here, and installed requires, we are not using this over here, but as you can see I have find packages installed over here, but then we are not using this, and we are also using the import setup over here because as you can see we have setup being used over here. So this is going to be our setup.py file. All right, so after saving everything, now we are good to go. But even before we proceed, let me come back here. We first of all need to register. Okay, now I already have registered, but then if this is your first time, you just have to click in here and provide some kind of basic registration over here. So your name, your email address, your username, your password, and you confirm a password. So I'm now going to log in because I have an account, and my account is KenBroTech, and my password, I'm going to type it over here. All right, so I'm logged in. So these were some other packages I worked on a couple of days ago, but then I've deleted them, so when you come here, you are not going to see these showing up over here. This is the only active one. All right, so now that I have this, now I can look at uploading my file over here. So now the first thing we are going to do is we are also going to install another package over here, and that's going to be Twine. So I'm going to say pip install Twine, and I already have it installed over here, so it's going to tell me that requirement is already satisfied, so I don't seem to have any problem over here. So now I need to upload this. So what I'm going to type over here is I'm going to say Python setup.py. Remember, this is setup.py, so it's like we are invoking it over here, but then we are going to do an sdist. So what this is going to do over here is it's going to create a distribution file. So when I run this, it says I seem to have a problem in here. So on my setup line 20, okay, and this is very important, setup line 20, I seem to have a problem over here, and it says there's no such file or directory as readme.md. okay, so I have readme.md over here, but I only did read, so I need to come in here and rename this to readme, and this is very important. All right, let me check the spelling once again. Setup, yeah, so I have readme.md, and this is supposed to be readme.md. all right, so let me go back in here and run a python setup.py sdist. So I'll run this, and like I said, this is going to create in a distribution file. Okay, so it has run, and what we have over here is this distribution file. This is actually what is going to be uploaded in pypi.org. all right, so we have this distribution file. You don't have to touch this. You also have this pykbt.egg_info, and this is a bunch of things. We don't have to even open this up and look at things over here, but then it basically creates, I mean, we have the changelog.txt and everything over here showing up. all right, so we don't have to touch anything over here. Now we've done with the first part of it. The second part of it is to actually upload it onto our repository. all right, so the next thing we are going to do is we are going to do a Twine, and that's why you needed to install Twine in here. So we are going to do a Twine upload, and I'll do a space -- repository -url, and we need to do an https without the colon over here /, and I'm going to say upload.pypi.org/legacy, and I'll do a / space dist and a /, and I'll bring in star over here. So that's going to upload everything. all right, so I'll press enter, and as you can see over here, it says we seem to have an issue over here. okay, so let me put this up over here once again, and repository. So I have repository over here like this, and let me run this once again. all right, so it is asking me, so it says uploading distribution to https pypi.org, and it's asking me of my username, and that's exactly why you need to register over here. So I already have a registration. I'm going to call this, or I'm going to type in KenBroTech, and it's asking me of my password, so I'm typing in my password over here, and when I click on enter, it's going to run and upload everything. So as you can see, it says I can now view my package on this particular link. So I can copy this link, do a Control-C, come in here and do a Control-V over here. So when I click on this, you can see that we have the PyKBT_cal displaying over here. all right, and this is exactly what we specified. okay, all right, so the next thing we are going to do is not part of the main work, but then I want us to look at this URL over here, and we want to have a GitHub repo where we have this PyKBT_cal library over there, so that we link things up. Because as it stands, and let me come in here into my projects, and inside of this package, you see we have this URL showing up over here. If I'm to click on this project link, it's supposed to send me to GitHub, but as you can see, there is no page found because I haven't created this repository. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to come in here and go to GitHub. If you don't have a GitHub account, and if you don't want to have it, I mean, it is not compulsory, but then I just want to show you. And I'm going to type in the PyKBT file. This is the name I gave it, okay, inside of the application, PyKBT cal. So I need to make sure that I have it over here. Then I'll simply create the repository. All right, so I'm just going to follow the steps over here. First of all, I need to come in here and I need to do a git init to initialize this. Then what I need to do is I need to do a git add space period. So this is going to add everything onto the repository. So I'll do a git commit -m, and I would want to say first commit. All right, so I'll run this and this is going through. Then obviously the next thing I would need to do is to come in here and come and copy this URL. So I'll do a Ctrl+C over here and I'll paste it in here and I'll do this. So I have add the origin master. Now the next thing is to push it. So I'll do a git push origin master. All right. Okay, so this is done, and if I'm to come back here and come and click on this link again, it's going to open things up, and this time around I have this package over here. If I come here to refresh it, it's basically the same directory I have. All right, so having gone through the installation process, now everything is on GitHub and also on PyPi. We can actually click on this to install what we have over here. So we are just doing a pip install kbt cal, and that's exactly the installation description we gave over here. So when I run this, we can see that the installation is successful. Now we can do a pip list to actually check. All right, so let me open things up over here a little bit, and let's come in here. All right, so as you can see, we have the PyKBT cal showing up over here. That's the version 1.0, and that's essentially what we had over here. All right, so this is going to be okay. So now that we are through with this, now let's test our library itself and see the functionality we are trying to build over here. All right, so over here, what we are going to do is we are going to test the application we just published. So inside VS Code, let me just create a file and I'll call this test.py. Now what you then need to do is to do an import of it. So I'm going to import PyKBT cal, and like I did with the first one, I can do a var and I can do PyKBT cal dot, let's say, add numbers, and I'm going to add 5 and 8. So if I print out the var, now when I save this and run this, we are getting the sum is 13. Okay, and this is exactly what we published for others to use as well. So this is going to be the end of this video. Now, if you find this tutorial very interesting, there are a couple of ways you can help me grow my channel. I'll urge you to kindly subscribe to KenBroTech and hit on the notification button so that anytime I release a video, you'll be duly notified. Also, share this video with friends and family, anyone who find this content very useful. At KenBroTech, we say learn programming. You can do it. Bye bye.